responsibly.
Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. The Yankees got swept, Tony. Say bye-bye to your I-95 team.
And Tony Kornheiser. Don't they teach geography in Northwestern? The Phillies are an I-95 team. Did you not know that?
No. They're just
right up I-95.
They're like Halloween monsters. They just keep coming at you. Oh, but wait, the Nats. The Nats are not coming at you.
No, the Nats are not doing anything, but the Philadelphia Phillies.
They look good.
They're a 6
Phillies
seed,
look good.
and they're in.
Yeah.
Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, Matt Ryan is benched. The Jets lose their star running back, and the World Series is set. But we begin today with the recent implosions of Tampa Bay and Green Bay and their Hall of Fame quarterbacks, Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. Yesterday, Brady and Rodgers lost to P.J. Walker and Taylor Heineke. Raise your hand if you had that parlay right. Rodgers, who has lost 3 games in a row, he says he's not worried. Wilbon, which team should be more worried?
Well, they both should be worried. But Tampa, to me, Tony, I mean, I looked at them yesterday, and they just look forlorn. And Brady, Tom Brady, he's the GOAT. Nothing changes. I don't want people saying, what about his legacy? Nothing changes. But he's not good now. He's not playing like the GOAT now. That's all it means. It doesn't mean anything for how he's remembered or how we're going to think of him 20 years from now or whether he goes in the Hall of Fame. No. For right now, Tom Brady is just a dude, which is shocking to see because he's Tom Brady. But, Tony, they look forlorn. He's got other things on his mind by his own admission. And so I think Tampa, Green Bay, look, Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay, even if they don't right the ship this season, they got next year. I don't believe that particularly about Tampa Bay and Tom Brady. And I don't know if he can recruit more people and if Tampa's going to have those same veterans who want to come back without Tom Brady. I don't necessarily believe that. Green Bay is going to be Green Bay at some point. But Tampa, I don't know.
All right, so I'm going to have a slight disagreement here. Tampa Bay has lost to 2 terrible teams in a row. The Steelers were 1-4 when they lost to them. Carolina yesterday was 1-5. This is inexcusable. It's awful. And in those 2 games, Brady only had 1 touchdown pass. The reason I think they're in less trouble is because the rest of their division is rancid. Okay? Carolina, New Orleans, and Atlanta all stink. Their combined record is like 7-14. So all Tampa Bay has to do, and I'm not saying they can, but all they have to do is win 2 in a row and they get separation. Whereas Green Bay is in a more dire circumstance because Minnesota looks pretty good, and that hurts Green Bay for the playoffs. Plus, Green Bay having lost 3 in a row, they get Buffalo next. Yeah. Raise your hand if you think they're going to win that, because they're not going to win that game. But let me get to what you said about Brady. If you recall, I sent you a text during the game, and I said Tom Brady should quit today. He should just leave. Because it seems to me, as it seems to you, that Tom Brady's focus is no longer on football. Mike, I don't know why Robert Kraft would have a wedding on a Friday during the football season, but he did. Bill Belichick did what you would expect. He said, I'm not going. I got to prepare for a game. Tom Brady went. Mike, in all the great years with Tom Brady, he never would have gone. He never would have left the football arena, he wouldn't have done it. He wouldn't have done it.
He did it now. He's 45. He's earned whatever. You know what? If Tom Brady is distracted, more than our presumption, if he is, you know what? It's time for him to be distracted. It's okay for him to be distracted because he's Tom Brady. All right? Anybody else, raise your hand if you got that many Super Bowl rings. Oh, wait, nobody. So
nobody.
But it seems like this is, I never believed you when you said a couple of times earlier, Brady's probably going to. No. But now I think we could be at that point. Looks like we could be. Yeah. The Indianapolis Colts have seen enough of Matt Ryan, apparently. One day after losing to Tennessee, in part due to Ryan's pick 6, Indy today benched the quarterback they traded for this offseason. The Colts now intend to start Sam Ehlinger for the rest of the season, despite the fact that he's never thrown a pass in an NFL game. Tony, what the hell does this tell you?
It tells me 2 things. It tells me, first of all, that Matt Ryan is done. And it tells me that Frank Reich, the coach up there, has some fear that he's done as well. Because this is a very, very big move that you make. This is 3 years in a row, Mike, 3 quarterbacks in a row with big names who haven't worked out in Indianapolis. Phillip Rivers didn't work out and he retired. Carson Wentz didn't work out and he was traded. Matt Ryan hasn't worked out and he has been benched. At some point, you stop moving quarterbacks and you start moving coaches around. Indianapolis, I don't know. I mean, they're no good. Even though they're 3-3-1, which isn't terrible, and this may be a little bit hasty, they are not a good team. The Colts have never been the same, Mike, since Andrew Luck left.
Yeah.
They always have these guys lined up, and it never works out. And Matt Ryan has never been the same since that Super Bowl where the Patriots caught and passed them and where Arthur Blank had to stop dancing on the sidelines. Since then, he's 38-48-1. He's not who he was.
Well, you got a lot of stuff going on up there. Jimmy Irsay. I mean, he's a wild card. This smacks to me of front office intrusion. That interference.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. Come on. Look. I know Frank Reich for a long time.
Right.
Frank Reich is not a guy who makes big, crazy, bold decisions, sweeping. That's not who he is. That's not who he was as a player. When he was in college, and I knew him really well playing for Bobby Ross, that's not who his influences are. That's not his personality. You don't have to declare some dude who
so
just
you
left
think
college.
He's not doing this.
You don't have to declare a guy is your starter for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
That
is
dumb.
odd.
That's not Frank Reich, because he ain't. I don't believe that.
Right.
I believe there's front office interference involved here. I do. I believe that.
Well, you also don't want to believe that Frank Reich could be on the verge of being canned.
I don't. But he could
three
be.
seasons in a row with three different quarterbacks,
could happen.
We move now to baseball. The World Series is...
Because they're upsets. They got their butts kicked. That series went to form. Astros a lot better. Astros kick butt. So
that's right.
That, to me, look, I'm sure this is worthy of a whole lot of analysis in New York. We're not in New York. So let's get beyond that, Tony, a little bit. Let's deal with the Astros. The Astros, first of all, Altuve and Alvarez, they didn't even hit in this last series. Altuve hasn't hit the whole playoffs. They're going to hit. Altuve's a tinkerer and an adjustment guy, and he's going to work himself back into, I will bet you, having a pretty good World Series at the very least. And you got Verlander anchoring that group. Tony, they're the best team. I know Philly could win. Philly's got those big bats. What quiets big bats? Great pitching, and they're good on both starters and the back end of that relief corps. They're the best team in baseball this year. Sorry to you, Dodgers. They're the best team.
Here's what the Astros have that nobody else seems to have. They have unbelievable pitching.
Yes.
The Yankees struck out 50 times in 4 games. The ERA for the team in the playoffs is 1.88. The ERA for the bullpen is 0.62. Good luck hitting against those guys. Let me get to the other stuff. The moment in the entire playoffs happened last night in the 8th inning when Bryce Harper came up with Real Muto on first base and nobody out. The pitcher at the time, Suarez, was into his 2nd inning of relief, which doesn't happen that much anymore. He's a righty. Harper is a lefty. In the bullpen, warming up is the best closer in baseball, Josh Hader, who is a lefty. You get lefty-lefty matchup. They don't bring Hader in. They later say Hader wasn't ready. I'm sorry, Mike. This is a closeout game. You have to anticipate. That's what baseball is on a managerial part, anticipation. You have to have Hader ready. Hader had to pitch because Suarez's pitch cost the Padres the entire chance to get to the World Series. That was a huge, that's the biggest moment of the playoffs so far. And Bryce Harper totally rose to the occasion. Oh, yeah. He totally rose to the occasion.
I like the call on that, which was the at-bat of his life. That was a great call. Bryce Harper's had some great at-bats, some great moments, some great months. He's had a great career. But that was the at-bat of his life, the way it turned out, Tony. And so Philly's got that lineup. And you know, there's a guy in that lineup I actually root for.
Told you about it.
Mr. Schwarber.
You root for Schwarber.
Yes, I root for Schwarber. I love him.
He's a Cub. You root for everybody.
Tony?
Let me say this. Look,
I'm still going big with Houston. Big with Houston on this.
Mike, it is, I'm going to take 30 seconds here. It is criminal that baseball is not starting this World Series tomorrow or Wednesday at the latest. It's absolutely criminal. This is not the Super Bowl where years in advance you pick a site and everything is geared to the site. In baseball, the site of the opening team is always determined a few days before the World Series starts because it changes every single year. You go out there Tuesday, you're not up against football. Wednesday, you're not up against football. Thursday's an off day. Friday, you're not up against football. You have to adjust. You have to be flexible. Baseball, which you think is stupid, and I never did, it's stupid.
They get it wrong.
Is stupid.
They get it wrong all the time. They got this wrong. And Tony, it's not like the old days where baseball teams shared the field with an NFL neighbor locally.
No,
nobody does that anymore. So they can start it.
Let's
This
take a
is
break.
about TV. You gonna blame our bosses? You want to run that risk? I don't think ours is ESPN.
It's not about TV. It's about baseball
it's about
being
TV.
stupid.
It's about TV.
You put your foot down and you say, we're not going to be up against football.
But everything's about TV,
Let's take a break.
as you always say.
Coming up.
Money.
Well, they pay us. 3 college football unbeatens go down. Which was the most surprising?
Jets, Seahawks, both surprisingly good, because yesterday's injuries derailed both. This is always about
Rob
TV,
Manfred
Tony.
gets up. He says, we're going to start early. It's as simple as... It's time to find out what's on the minds of people who have so little to do that they spend time emailing a television show. Let me see what's first here.
Time.
Here we go. 3 unbeatens went down in college football. Which surprised you the most?
Well, the 3 unbeatens that went down, Tony, were Syracuse, Ole Miss, and UCLA. And none of them surprised me. They were all playing on the road. I thought they would all lose. But the result, or the way it played out, the one that surprised me the most was Syracuse, which led some of that game and was a threat for that entire game down in Death Valley. So, I mean, I remember, we asked David Pollack on Friday, are we supposed to take Syracuse at Clemson seriously? And, there's some trepidation with that. But Syracuse, accounted of itself pretty well. And I didn't expect Ole Miss or UCLA to win those games. So I'm going over on that one. That's sort of a new push.
Yeah. So I would have had to be revived if Syracuse had won that game.
Yes.
And when they were up 21-7 late in the second quarter, I was stunned. It ended the way I thought it would end, though Clemson obviously didn't beat the spread, but they won the game. Oregon, I thought Oregon would win. You mentioned David Pollack. I was a little bit surprised when he told us that he thought UCLA would win.
Yeah.
All's good in college football, though, because by winning, Oregon assured all of America that no Pac-10 team will be in the playoffs, because no Pac-10 team is a one-loss Pac-10 team ain't getting in with a one-loss SEC team. They're not getting in. And they've all got at least one right now, and they're not getting in. So by elimination, I'm going to say Ole Miss, not because I'm surprised that they didn't beat LSU in LSU, but they were up 17-3, Mike. And then they got their doors blown off. It was 42-3 after that, and I thought Ole Miss was better.
Just for the record, I think Southern Cal could still get in. I'm not saying they will, but I think USC could.
You're simply wrong.
I learned not to listen to you about college football. I know better than that.
The Jets and the Seahawks both won again, but both lost stars to injury. So which team is in the more precarious position?
Tony, I think the Jets are. They try to win these games close and with defense and running, and I don't know that they're going to be able to do that. And that's too bad, because this kid is dynamic, man. And it was just sad to see him limp off. I was flipping channels and saw that, not limp to the cart and then go off. Seattle's got a lot of weapons. I mean, DK Metcalf, he's a stud. We know that. He's proven himself. But speaking of great young running backs, they have that. Geno Smith has played far better than anyone outside of Seattle thought he could. And they've got
even in Seattle.
They've got
in Seattle.
They got an ensemble still remaining with that team, and they are well coached, as we know, by Pete Carroll. He knows what he's doing. I think Seattle can survive this, and their division, I don't know. Denver, of course, is not what we thought they were, but they're going to get more good players off that trade now with Russell Wilson, aren't they?
I'm surprised that you are equivocal about this at all. The answer is definitely the Jets. This kid, Breece Hall, just tore his ACL. He's done. The Jets are going to have much more problems with who they've lost than who Seattle.
I didn't equivocate.
Yeah, but you said, I'm not sure. No, you got to be sure. This kid was a Rookie of the Year candidate. He was averaging almost 6 yards
had
per run, and that's a team.
Scrimmage,
That's a team that grinds it out. They don't even like to pass.
No, they don't.
Seattle's got Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker went for 168 and 2 touchdowns against a better team, the Chargers, than the team that the Jets beat, the Broncos. So it's definitely the Jets. Breece Hall is more integral to what they do than Metcalf is to the other team. Enough email. Let's take one last break, but still to come. We will review the returns of Dak Prescott and Tua Tagovailoa.
And are Joe Burrow and the Bengals back on track? Daniel Hackett ought to be in trouble. He's the one who should be in trouble. Because they stink.
He is in trouble.
And he is the captain of that ship.
Nathaniel Hackett.
Yeah.
Daniel Hackett's in no trouble. Nathaniel Hackett is in jeopardy.
Family, part of Happy Hour.
Happy time, people. Happy.
And I was shocked to find he was 3. In my mind, he was 5 or 6 years old. 3? He shouldn't even be out there. I'm just glad he was okay, and it's all turned out great. It's turning out great for Darren Baker. Good for him.
Happy trails to the sideline for Dak Prescott and Tua Tagovailoa. Dak came back from 5 weeks out with a broken thumb. Tua came back from 2 weeks on concussion protocol. Not coincidentally, their teams won. Dolphins beat the Steelers 16-10. Tua had a few probable interceptions dropped by Pittsburgh defenders, but he led Miami to that first drive score, and all in all, completed 21 of 35 for 261 and a 92.7 passer rating. Dak led Dallas past Detroit 24-6. Cowboys defense did all the heavy lifting. They forced 5 turnovers. But Dak was 19 of 25 for 207 yards and a 113.3 rating. Neither quarterback probably send these tapes to Canton, but at least nobody's calling for the backups to start next week. Not even your boy Jerry Jones.
You know, Tua, when he's out there, Tony, Miami plays with a certain confidence and a certain energy. You can see it, and they're a different team with him. But seeing the Miami Dolphins out there with Greasy and company, the perfect Dolphins, it's 50 years ago. How old does that make us feel? I mean, I was a kid, but still, it was great to see them walk out there.
90,
Larry Zonka, and
so I feel 90
great.
now. You're right about Tua. The teammates there clearly want him on the field.
They want him out there.
They respond better to him. I suspect that's true about Dak Prescott with Dallas, but Dallas's defense wins these games. Detroit used to score a lot, now they get nothing. Let's go to the big finish.
Let's do it.
Rory McIlroy. He won the CJ Cup at Congaree in South Carolina. He returned to #1 in the world. Are you impressed?
Yeah, he says harder than becoming #1 the first time is doing it again, getting back there. So, yes, impressed. Christian McCaffrey had 62 all-purpose yards, but the Niners got crushed at home by the Chiefs. What's your headline?
My headline is how good the Chiefs are. I think they're the second-best team in football right behind Buffalo.
Note to I-95 Philly. Note to them. Tony hating on you.
Sixers dropped to 0-3 after losing to the Spurs, who don't even try to win. Is there cause for concern?
The cause for concern is Embiid and Harden. They seem like they're just taking turns and not playing off each other yet, but it's early. Joe Burrow passed for 481 yards. Bengals beat the Falcons. You driving that Bengals bus again?
Okay, so I believe in Burrow and Jamar Chase. If you can keep him upright, he can throw the ball to Chase. That's good.
Yeah.
Last one, your Bears and the Patriots tonight, Monday Night Football. How you feeling, big boy?
Queasy. Belichick's going to make us look like chumps, like stooges. I'm not happy. Already. Not even in pregame. Not happy.
Didn't even start yet.
I know.
You're not happy. We're out of time. We'll try and do better the next time, and I'm Tony Kornheiser.
I'm Mike Wilbon. Same time tomorrow, Knuckleheads. Now to get you set for Monday Night Football, here's Susie Colbert and the Countdown Crew.
So you think you're going to lose? You think the Bears are going to lose big, right, to the
I think he'll
Patriots?
make us look stupid. Close game, but he'll make us look bad.
Welcome to Monday Night Countdown.